Black Wealth Matters, Part 2. And African Americans who are concerned about growing their wealth, should be. And you should be highly concerned then about government's imposition on your wealth. That's what high taxes do, more to blacks than to whites. And that's because the tax code is still incredibly punitive. Whether progressive or straight, you end up paying far too much. You end up, thanks to your progressive leaders that like to tax for the sake of more and more programs, you end up with an inability to save. How many African American families are really putting away lots of money each month? With a tax code as high as it is, very few. At 30+%, it's very hard, even with a two-income family, to put away a lot of money. There goes the wealth, the accumulation. Who does that go to? There are people who are already rich. And they don't really mind if the tax rate is 45%. They're still doing great because of the beauty of still putting away money and compounding the interest. Even worse for African Americans. I mean, the tax code is at least progressive. The Social Security tax is the most regressive tax ever invented in America. And it's especially hard-hitting on those with shorter life expectancies. African Americans have shorter life expectancies. And so they are penalized incredibly badly. African Americans tend to work more, meaning more years paying into the system, and get less, dramatically less. On average, African American male life expectancy now 67.3 years. Well, you worked until 65 and you got all of 2.3 years to collect. White, average white male life expectancy 74 years. Work till 65, you have 9 years. You have almost 4 times as much as the African American male. Blacks should be furious about those who perpetuate this kind of unfairness. And even if not against certain government officials, how about just finally railing and saying, we want to keep our own money. We will save for ourselves. We are responsible. We don't need this medieval. That's really what a Social Security automatic tax, no matter who you are, does. It prevents you from thinking for yourself, which almost all of us can do, and prevents people from building up wealth. Blacks especially, you should be the first to hail the making of Social Security optional. People who still really trust the government to do the best with their money 60 years later. Okay, pay in. But it will be 60 years because the way the Social Security system right now is, it can't sustain a retirement age of 65 or even 68. We're going into the late 70s by the time people born now, if put on autopilot. Kill the system, or at least let people opt out. African Americans especially, you have the most to gain. I'm Mark Stewart, also known as Stewart for Hartford. If this is eye-opening to some of your black friends, please pass this on. StewartForHartford.com.